The problem is when you go down these stupid nerd rabbit holes in these Reddit threads with these morons who live in their mother's basement with a calculator, and then you put that out into the dadgum.
I am offended. I do not live in my mother's basement. I live in the attic. Hold on, one sec. Mom, the meatloaf! Is it ready yet? Sorry, I was just getting hungry. Okay, let's get back to it. Dave Ramsey said some things about retirement recently, and quite a few people are having some problems with it. So I found the clip and I wanted to watch it with you and share some thoughts as you're planning your retirement on some things to just be aware of, and then also some things to be careful about. So this is his call-in show, and he and his daughter, Rachel, they take or talk to callers. And I watched this to get an idea of what's happening. Jay called in and he's moving along the baby steps, and he wants to turn his nest egg into retirement income. So he heard or saw something on the Ramsey website about a 4 to 5% withdrawal rate. So let's start it here.
I found on your website a little article that talks about 4 to 5% withdrawal rate. And I was trying to run the numbers around that, and I thought I was close. And then
So you can see perplexed, something isn't sitting right here.
What was it, a month ago? George Camel released a video that said that the withdrawal rate for a 30-year time horizon should be closer to 3%.
George Camel is one of the Ramsey personalities, so also has a call-in show, I think, and he has a YouTube channel and things like that, usually speaking to the younger demographic, to 30 and 40-year-olds.
So if I can establish financial independence comfortably, then I was wondering if I could ease up on baby step 4 to pay off the house faster.
Okay, I'm a little confused because I don't know what the hell George is doing a 3% withdrawal rate.
Not too happy about this.
Because that's absolutely wrong. I'm going to have to find out where that video is and get it taken down. Because that's just...
Jay goes, oof. I'm actually surprised that Dave was so quick to blame George without knowing the context, or even if Jay is right here. You know, I've always believed, if you got a team, you give them the benefit of the doubt before blaming for something. But I'm not Dave Ramsey. I did not build an empire with thousands of employees like he did. But that was interesting. I'm actually going to try to find the video. I'm going to pause this and then see if I could find that video from George. Okay, I'm back. I found the video. Here's the clip that probably Jay might have seen, or if this is a blog post too.
Another flaw with FIRE is that they say you can withdraw 4% of your nest egg, but you'll really need to withdraw closer to 3% if you retire that early. So look at this.
So there it is. That might be what Jay was talking about. Now, the difference here is George is talking about the FIRE movement, Financial Independence Retire Early movement, and he's talking to 30 and 40-year-olds who might have a 40-year or 50-year time frame of retirement and what a proper withdrawal rate might be, which he says is 3. But let's go back to Dave now.
Wrong. You don't need to have a 3% withdrawal rate. That's ridiculous. Or I hope you misunderstood. I hope we didn't put out trash like that.
Was it 4 to 5%?
No, it shouldn't be 4 to 5%. It ought to be more than that. I mean, if you're making 12 in good mutual funds and the S&P is average.
The comment, this was a live stream, I guess. The comments are saying, no, George is in the doghouse. He's in trouble now. So, and Dave just says, if you're making 12% per year on your investments, let's see.
Average 11.8. And if inflation for the last 80 years has averaged 4%, if you make 12 and you need to leave 4% in there for inflation raises, that leaves you 8.
So he's right about those things. If you look back over the past 50 years, the S&P 500, the index has averaged 11.7%. That's from 1972 till end of 2022, and inflation's close to 4%. So those are right. But to say 8% withdrawal rate per year, I get the math, but there's something that's missing here.
I'm perfectly comfortable drawing 8. But if you want to be a little bit conservative, 7, but sure not 5 or 3.
Well, I was trying to back check it because, 3 to 5, I thought that was a big range. And a lot of the studies I found showed...
Well, there's a lot of studies that are stupid in this space.
Okay, a lot of studies are stupid in this space. Now, if you have seen any other videos, this channel is all about retirement planning. We've helped a lot of people over the last decade and a half retire, and we share some of those stories and some of the strategies on this channel. And you probably, if you've seen any other videos, you might see that I don't love the 4% rule in planning your entire retirement. It's a great rule of thumb to start as you're doing back of napkin type planning, but to base your whole plan on it doesn't always make sense. But I wouldn't go as far as saying that it's stupid. It's not something that was just made up by somebody. It was actually William Bengen is the guy who developed it. He actually got his degree in aeronautics and astronautics from MIT. So definitely not a stupid guy.
Listen, man, the math I just gave you is the math. If you're making 12% and inflation is 4, and you leave 4 in there, so your nest egg grows by 4, it's simple. 8 is what's left over.
That's true. In a perfect world, if the average over 50 years was 12% and every single year the return was 12%, then that makes a lot of sense. But we obviously know that that's not how it works year to year. I'll show you some examples of this coming up.
So if you got $1 million and you leave 4% in there, that's $40,000. Okay, so you now have $1,040,000. So the next year you get a rate of return of 12%, 11.5% on the $1,040,000.
Or it could be down that year, right? And if you're taking out 8% that year, it's a big difference in outcome.
And the next year it'll be $1,090,000. 1.1, right? And because your nest egg is growing by the rate of inflation, giving you a cost of living raise every year. So as long as you're doing that, you're fine.
So a lot of people watching Dave Ramsey, it's the average American, right? Probably not working with a certified financial planner or tax pro. And in my opinion, I hope they don't implement this idea because it could be pretty dangerous just for the normal person.
And so if you want to be a little bit conservative, maybe 5%.
Would you say
but there's all these goobers out there have always.
I might be projecting my own thoughts, feelings on Rachel, but I'm wondering if she's feeling uncomfortable here, trying to get them, wrangle them back in.
Put this 4% crap in the market, and I'm just irate right now that we have joined the stupidity.
Why is it that stupid, though? Like,
It's too low. It's too low because it's not realistic. You do not need to live on 4% of your money for your nest egg to survive.
Yeah, even if you did a rate of return of 10% or something.
Yeah, and what it sets up is this guy now, he doesn't think he's got enough money.
I do appreciate that thought of you do see a lot of fear in the financial industry or making people afraid so that they do something different with their finances. But in this case, I think it's kind of the scale of fear and maybe worry, and on the other side it's rose-colored glasses, right? One side would lead to oversaving, and then the other side would lead to a higher chance of running out of money in this case. At least that's what I'm thinking right now off the top of my head.
And he's already got $120,000 and he's 30 years old and he's on a plan. He's on a plan to be very wealthy and he's worried he's going to have enough money or not.
Yeah.
Because stupid people put out low withdrawal rates. Like you,
but
listen,
wouldn't you rather?
I think she's trying to change it. I don't know. Let's see.
If you think you can only pull off 4% off of investments making 12, where the flip is the other 8% going?
I think the main problem that people are having is just the fact that things don't go up 12% every year. This is being 100% invested in the S&P 500, the stock market, the index. So most Americans probably don't have 100% in the index, and things don't always go up every single year where you could take out that money.
Well, 4% of it went to inflation. That's where it went. The other 4% is just sitting there. So you are growing your investments instead of living off of them. I'm not destroying the nest egg. I'm not even touching the nest egg. I'm growing the nest egg by leaving 4% in.
Maybe one of the big differences here is Dave is not like the majority of Americans, right? He's got multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. He's got a business that's extremely successful, multi-million-dollar business. His investments, which are in index funds or whatever they're in, they're 100% in stocks. He probably never has to use those. I'm just guessing here. This is my opinion. And for the majority of people, we're going to be using what we've saved, right? And there's a psychological factor when we get to retirement and we start to pull money out. It's going to hit different when we have ups and downs, right? 10 years ago, we were able to look at a big correction or a bear market and endure it a little bit easier because we had time on our side. But we know when our clients get to retirement age and start using it, it's different. And it could be dangerous if you're thinking this way. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Taking 8 off of a 12
Okay,
growth
so
rate.
go a 10% rate of return. Go a little bit more conservative with your rate of return. Go 10%. What would you do with 10%?
Well, then 4 off of that, so 6.
6, yeah.
But why are you going to underinvest?
Yeah.
I mean, this year the S&P to date
Was 10%.
Is 10%, and we're not even at the end of the year yet.
Yeah.
And he's making it sound like, well, there's no way to go but up. But we know that that's not true. It could go down as well. I mean, remember 2018, the end of December of 2018, and how big of a shift that was at the end of the year on the downside.
You know, and everybody's talking about how bad the economy is. So, you know, most years mine have done much better than 12.
Do you guys remember the church lady from SNL, Dana Carvey? Hold on, I'm going to pause this. Okay, found it. Remember this?
Well, isn't that special?
Okay, anyways, that's great. That's great for Dave.
And so
But if you can do your standard of living, though, lower than what you need, like if you don't need
it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm 62, or 63, I'm pulling nothing off of mine.
Right.
Because I don't need it.
That's what I was talking about earlier. I'm guessing he might not ever need to use it.
Work. I still have an income.
Right.
I don't need any of it. So it's all just sitting there growing.
But you could do 4%.
The problem is when you go down these stupid nerd rabbit holes in these Reddit threads with these morons who live in their mother's basement with a calculator, and then you put that out into the dadgum.
I am offended. I do not live in my mother's basement. I live in the attic. Hold on, one sec. Mom, the meatloaf! Is it ready yet? Sorry, I was just getting hungry. Okay, let's get back to it.
Community, and then people go, I don't have enough money. It's hopeless. I'll never be able to save enough to retire. $1 million should create for you an $80,000 income, boys and girls. So
in my opinion, that could be dangerous for someone with $1 million portfolio. A lot depends on the year that you retire. I don't know if you've heard of sequence of returns risk, but the next few years after the retirement date has a huge impact on the success of the plan. And I'll show you an example coming up.
Perpetually, like if forever, you should be able to pull 80,000 forever and never destroy it.
Okay, I'm gonna put something on the screen now. I'll just show you now. Sequence of returns. This is a image of 2 portfolios. Pretty much everything is exactly the same for both of these portfolios, and we can see how one runs out and is exhausted and one is not. And the only thing that's different is the first few years. It's really the date of retirement. One was a good period, one was a bad period, about 10 years apart here. So we can see that the first few years of withdrawals has a big impact, because the other thing here is the rate of return is actually higher over here when you average them out. So there's a big difference between averages and what's actually happening year to year and what you're taking out. So taking out 80K off $1 million, that could be a red flag. Now, there are periods of time where that works. I'll pull up something else that gives us a chance of success if we were to do that coming up.
Now and so when you tell people that $1 million creates a $40,000 income, you go, oh, I've got to have $2 million and I can't make that, then this system doesn't work. So what you're doing with this bogus math is you're stealing people's hope.
Okay, let's look at the calculator now. Here's FI Calc, and this is a free app that you can go, ficalc.app. So let's see. Make sure you can see this. So 30-year duration, $1 million portfolio, 100% into stocks. We're just using the numbers that he said. $80,000 a year. We could adjust for inflation and see the success rate is about 40%. So that's not great if you were to follow this. Now, let's look at this over here and see 77. So over 62% of the time, you're ending with either 0 to 250K. So those numbers, exactly as he was talking, I would just be careful.
Oh, I'm pissed about it because it's hope stealing with super nerds that have never really done anything to start with. They don't have any investments. They just have theories. I've actually freaking got investments. My money is actually invested exactly the way I teach people to invest it.
Again, a big difference between Dave and the regular American. I do agree with his thoughts on stealing people's hope, on how that's not right, right? But I'd say we model withdrawal rates the way that they are. We were just looking at them, not to steal hope. That's bogus. We just want people to be prepared for different situations and what if scenarios. We could see the results from that calculator. I would suggest checking it out yourself, FI Calc, or New Retirement if you're using that. We've got the link below as well.
And I'm easily making 12% on my money. Easily.
That's special.
Average throughout a decade.
Yeah.
So it's just asinine that we do this stuff. So no, honey, you need to save 15% of your income in baby step 4 till you get your house paid.
So if you showed this to someone who retired in 2008 with $1 million and started taking out $80,000 a year, I don't think they'd be that happy. We looked at sequence of returns risk. We looked at the FI Calc. The big thing here when we're planning for clients is have a steady stream of income so that your lifestyle and expenses don't need to change in retirement and not be impacted by market fluctuations. That's why we look at different withdrawal rates than say 8% or 10%, whatever, 8% per year.
Off. When your house gets paid off, you will increase your investing ratio above that. You are not going to retire poor. Stay away from 4% withdrawal rate morons who are telling you this is the thing. So, God, it's just aggravating. So,
I can see the hope stealing.
Because it makes people think they need to.
I think Rachel wants to move on. That's my guess. But the big takeaway is don't base your plan on 4% rule of thumb. Don't base it on an 8% rule of thumb, right? These are good for first back a napkin running projections when you're just starting out. But what we've seen from retirees over the last decade and a half, I've been helping them. Streamline's been around for 25 years, since before the dot-com crash. And we've seen clients' confidence in retirement and the amount of money they have and everything to do financial goes way up when you can get more specific and tactical with your withdrawal rates. A few things that were not touched on in this clip were how taxes impact things, or tax efficient withdrawal strategies, or how do multiple asset classes change the results. The big thing is a customized personal withdrawal plan for your plan, your specifics. That's better than any rule of thumb. So I would say talk to a CFP or a CFA and create your plan. A lot of times we see beginning of retirement, higher withdrawal rate. Maybe it is 8%. And then we see it go down over time. And then towards the end of your life, sometimes there's healthcare expenses and more expensive things. So find a CFP or CFA or just retirement specialist. Every month we have a few spots open for conversations if you want to call Streamline or apply online. And if you're wondering what does a strategic withdrawal strategy actually look like, then this video can help you there. And if you're not yet subscribed, do so if you like retirement planning content like this. Take care.